All right, welcome everyone. John Benson here, coming in live to Wing Chun Talk. I have a Sifu from the UK dropping into today with us to share some information and get to know him a little bit better. Lewis Arnold, welcome. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on.
I'm glad you're here, and it looks sunny where you're at, so I'm a little jealous. I'm in the basement here.
We don't get it all the time. It's only going to last for a few days, and then it'll be rain. So don't be too jealous. I'm sure you live in a very nice part of the world.
It's sunny today. I'm just everything's set up down here. So yeah. But welcome. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate you spending some time with me.
No, thank you.
So to kind of get started, I just wanted to jump right in, really, and kind of get how you got into Wing Chun. We chatted previously, and we talked for half an hour, and I could have talked way longer with you.
Of course.
Yeah.
If you catch me on the subject of Wing Chun, I could talk all day. So, and actually, I think a lot of the time that's what all my students sometimes say to me, like, okay, that's enough. That's enough information.
Right.
How I got into Wing Chun? Well, I mean, it started. When I was a young. When I was young, a teenager, a family friend of mine, he used to teach Wing Chun, and because of that, I sort of was drawn towards it. But he didn't teach children, so I was probably only 13 at the time, and I think his rule was he wouldn't teach you like anyone under 16. So he said, "Come back to me in a few years," and of course, life gets in the way. You start. You got friends and stuff like that, and you're sort of interested in going out and meeting girls and stuff like that. So I think I didn't go back to him until I was about 18, and by that point he had actually took over to just teach in special forces.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't want any civilians. He was only teaching the British special forces at the time. So that kind of left me in a hole. I'd done boxing and other bits. Going through my childhood and stuff like that, but I was kind of looking for that. Never really found it. Couldn't find anyone around locally, and then I think at some point I was working my job, and I think I just sort of realized there was a certain stress level to what I was doing, and I wanted a bit of a vent. And so I typed into Google one day and realized that one of his students was then teaching. So I got into it like that, and I stayed with him for quite a few years. And that was under they were under the Samuel Kwok Association, so they were under that sort of lineage: Ip Chung, Ip Ching, Sam Kwok. So I trained under that lineage for quite a few years. Got up to Black Sash, and then I sort of ended up, as you do, you start sort of like looking at other things, especially with YouTube these days. You can see so much information and different lineages and different Sifus. And one of my Sihing at the time, he directed me towards Gary, Sifu Gary Lam. And I borrowed his DVD that he lent me, and I think I watched it. I think I didn't give it back to him for 6 months. I just kept watching it over and over and over again. And in the end, I sort of went down that route. And so that's how I ended up getting into Wing Chun. The lineage change was due to other sort of reasons. That was mainly to do with the information that Sifu Gary was giving. And he really did sort of like make it logical. So that was predominantly the thing for me was when he explained something to you, you just think, oh, of course, yeah, that makes sense. So it makes it understandable and logical, rather than there being sort of too much mysticalness about stuff. Sifu Gary's not like that. He's very much, it has to work on the bare bones. And if it doesn't, then we got to strip it back and find out why. And I like that approach. He has a fighter's approach to Wing Chun, because that's kind of like, so that's what drew me towards that lineage in the end, was that someone that's done it and someone that's used it. So but Wing Chun for me was mainly an escape rather than rather than anything else. It was kind of like just one of those things. I enjoyed the art form. I realized that to be a boxer, you had to be in great physical shape, and a lot of your sort of skill or how good you are depends on your physique and how much you train. And I knew that I couldn't commit to sort of doing a 6-mile run every single day and keeping that kind of thing. So I enjoy boxing, but Wing Chun was my passion because there's more art to it, in my opinion. So for me, that's what drew me towards that. And but you know, people start for different reasons. Some people is for self-defense. Other people, you know, they just want to socialize and meet people. So, and yeah. I like that you get a real broad spectrum of people who sort of join it, and for different reasons. And that's one of the main things I ask my students all the time when they first start. I said, you know, what do you want to get from it? What are you looking to gain? And it's interesting because predominantly most people go, oh, self-defense, but you strip that back after a while and say, well, you know, you now know how to defend yourself. Why are you still learning it? Why are you still pushing yourself? And then they sort of say, oh, well, okay, yeah, I like the art form, or I want to perfect this, or I want to. So, you know, people like that sort of thing. I enjoy it.
Nice. So do you keep asking kind of as they level up? Like, I mean, what keeps you?
Yeah, it's one of my go-to questions. And I ask the class, even guys that have been doing it longer than me. I mean, actually, a lot of my old Sihing come across when I come back from Sifu Gary's the first time. Obviously, you know, one of them I used to go jogging with on a regular basis, and he sort of phoned me up a couple of days after I got back and said, oh, you want to go out on a jog? I said, yeah, no worries. I was a little bit overweight being in America and eating these huge portions. In the UK, we don't get that.
I thought you'd be super fit after going like full-time training there. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, you know, it's the last couple of days in America, and I you know, ever since I turned 30 a few years back, I look at a burger now and I seem to put on weight. So it's like it's one of those things. And so I mean, it is one of those questions. But yeah, he met up with me, and we you know, he obviously wanted to touch hands, and that was sort of like what he wanted to do. So we done that, and he was amazed with what I had learned. And so then that was it. He sort of like one phones the other one, and then I get a couple of phone calls saying, oh, do you want to meet up? So in the end, I ended up sort of meeting up with all the Sihing and training with them, and they just wanted to learn something new, you know, so they come across with me, and now they're my students, and I've got quite a few of my old Sihing from my old club are now my students, so they've been doing it longer than me. Yes. But, you know, that's the thing with what we learn with Sifu Gary and the Gary Lam system, is he has a system, and the system is very, very good. So it's important for me to ask the students at different stages, what are you doing it for? Because, you know, you want to be able to help a student to get out of something what he wants to get out. You know, so if he or she wants to get something out of it, what are they wanting to get out of it? If they just want to get a socialization, then that's fine, you know, and we accommodate that. But if they really want to get the high level skill, then we work them a little bit more, and I push them a little bit further. And we you know, it's not sometimes what they're doing, you know, we just push that a little bit further. Oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, you know, and make them really go to work on site. So, I mean, this is something that Gary done to me. You know, you'd be on the dummy, and he'd just watch it, and he's like, keep going. And you'd sort of spend the whole day just working the dummy, you know, and we're working over there. Training starts at, we start about 9 a.m., finish about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you come, or sometimes later, sometimes a little bit earlier, and then you'd come back to it about 5 p.m. and you train till 9 p.m. So, and he'd just keep you on the dummy the whole time, you know. It's like, and by the end of that day or couple of days like that, you look at the dummy and think, I don't want to touch that thing again for the next, you know, 3-4 months. You just,
yeah.
But that's the only way to get skill, you know, is to really work on something non-stop until you crack it. So,
right.
But yeah, so in terms of students, I mean, it's a fine line. You have to know which ones you can push and which ones you can't push. Some just don't like it, and then they leave if you push too hard, and others really want that. So